What I mean is that I need someone to make the calls with me because I have severe panic attacks over just calling them. I literally
Okay.
cannot take care of myself, not mentally or physically at this point, because of the long-term abuse. And that's the thing, is that I am an at-risk adult. I need help filling out the paperwork. I don't have anyone to do that with me.
Okay. Have you talked with Adult Protective Services about that?
I have. We discussed this previously. Yes, I've contacted Adult Protective Services. The problem is that none of these people are doing anything because it's just me. They just blow me off and allow the abuse to continue.
Okay. Kind of looking through everything. It's like, gosh, I'm not sure who else you could possibly talk to if you've already talked to the Ombudsman's Office, Adult Protective Services.
Ma'am, the problem is that I'm
Yes.
having to make the calls alone. I need a guardian of some sort to protect my rights. I'm an at-risk adult. I literally cannot take care of myself. Um, I don't know how to explain that I am a dependent adult who doesn't have anyone to depend on. Does that make any sense?
Well, it does, but that would be Adult Protective Services that you would have to make a report to and to ask them to have someone assigned to you.
I've already done that. They haven't done anything. They blow me off. That's the problem. Is that I need help with all of this stuff. In order to get the help that I need help to do that stuff. I need help to get that assistance, and that is something that is so frustrating. 5 years of this.
Other than possibly your mental health providers helping you when you're at like an office visit to
They
see
blew me
them,
off too,
that would be,
and that's the thing, is that they were blowing me off too. I had a therapist. I've had multiple caseworkers. The problem is that none of my caseworkers are doing anything except going out of their way not to look at the abuse. I've gone in there with the evidence, and the lady refuses to look at it. The most recent one that I had is Penny Cooper. The one that I had before that, her name is Jen Beebe. The one that I had before that, her name was Kara Heller. And there's been a few others in between there because I've had to move from one end of the country to the other.
that would be where you file the report though to the ombudsman's office. That would be a complaint against the Adult Protective Service not getting you the help you need.
Well, I was imprisoned for 7 months last year. I contacted the Ombudsman's office repeatedly about the abuse that I had endured at the hands of Scott DaCosta, and at the fact that Adult Protective Services wasn't doing anything and Department of Health and Human Services wasn't doing anything, and the Ombudsman told me that he couldn't do anything unless except for while I was incarcerated, and only about the specific facility that I was currently incarcerated in. His name was Gerald Moreland, I believe.
Okay, but you last when we talked to you, you were going to contact legal aid,
I
a
did
legal
contact legal
resource.
aid.
Did you do that?
I did,
Okay.
and
What
that's the
did
thing, is that they don't deal with this at all. The fact that there's cops involved makes their ears turn off immediately. As far as the other abuse goes, it's a constant battle with them because they say that they don't do anything about criminal or civil stuff. They gave me a list of the stuff that they do go through. It's on my YouTube channel. I mean, it's easy to find.
Okay, those are the only resources that I'm aware of. We don't send people specifically out to individuals that need help. We point them in the direction, and then you would need to take care of the rest.
That's the problem, ma'am,
Does
is
that
that
make more sense?
Ma'am, I've had that explained to me hundreds of times. The problem is that I can't do those things myself. It's like everybody is deaf. I can't do these things myself. I've called every number, every access line, and you changed the names of these. When I told you already that I'd already called the places that you told me to call, then you told me statewide access line. That is not their name. And then you told me legal assistance disabilities. That's not their name either.
That would be part of Department of Health and Human Services, though, and we're not part of that system.
And that's the problem, is the Department of Health and Human Services isn't going to do anything unless I have basically a guardian there and present, and I don't have one. That's how I keep getting railroaded, is that I'm an at-risk adult, and there is nobody who is actually doing anything about this. They're all looking the other way.
Well, I'm sorry, that's the situation you have. The only other thing I can think of would be if you hired an attorney privately and asked them.
I don't have any money to hire a private
appointed.
attorney. I don't have any money for a private attorney. I'm disabled. I have to live on $800 a month, and most of it goes to the courts. I mean, how is this even okay? Do what?
That's not for me to decide. That's not something we can decide on this helpline. If you are in a crisis, I would recommend that you contact Lifeline, speak to a crisis counselor, or that you contact law enforcement and tell them that you need a legal guardian and go through the legal channels.
Ma'am, I've already contacted Lifeline. Lifeline is suicide.
Sir?
Yeah.
I'm just giving you the resources that I'm aware of that you would have to use. I can't make a service that's not available. Do you need me to give you the number for Lifeline?
That's the suicide hotline, ma'am. They don't do anything.
Correct. Correct.
I've got almost half a dozen calls recorded with suicide hotline.
Okay.
Half the time they're assholes, the other half they're dismissive, and you have a time limit to talk to them, and then they hang up. They give me...
They're not the same as a therapist. They are a crisis response to somebody that calls in at the moment. They usually are a short-term call.
I'm aware of that. I've called them, like I said. All of these places keep sending me to other places. I was referred to you by the police that you told me that you're telling me to call back. I mean, that's the thing, ma'am, is that everybody, for the last 5 years, it's been one call after another to get given more phone calls. 5 years of this is not okay.
Unfortunately, it's not something that the Nebraska Family Helpline can assist you with.
It's not something that anybody assists me with. Although it's good to know you guys are the Boys Town phone number.
We're not with Boys Town either. We're a separate entity. We're the Nebraska Family Helpline.
Well, the number you called me from, 1111, I called them and they answered Boys Town.
That is a switchboard, yes. They allow us to use their switchboard because they are a much larger entity than we are. Keep yourself safe. If you're unable to keep yourself safe, from ending your life, then law enforcement is the best place to go, or go to an ER.
Do not go there. I am not threatening to end my life. I'm trying to get help.
I'm just saying that that's what you will need to do if that's the type of crisis you have. The Ombudsman's office is who can help you with Adult Protective Services not listening to you. Other than that, I don't know, because we don't have that information.
Well, I have the state ombudsman's number and information in my prison paperwork, but it's a big pile. Could you give me that number again?
I certainly will. Hang on just 1 second while I pull that up. Do you need to go get something to write with?
I have something to write with.
Okay. Hold on just 1 second. Okay, here we go. And the number that you want to call is 1-800-742-7690, and tell them that you want to file a complaint regarding Adult Protective Services.
Yes, ma'am.
Do you need me to repeat that number?
No, ma'am.
Okay. Well, best of luck, sir.
Yes, ma'am.
Take care and stay safe. Bye-bye.
I've been to the ombudsman. The ombudsman was supposed to come see me in person. And then, 5 fucking years of this. You guys heard the call earlier. I called the statewide access line. That's not the name of it. And legal assistance. That's not the name of it. They just changed the names a bit. I've been looking up the laws, and all these mandated reporters got all these excuses why they can't turn it in. I wrote to her, I have more than one doctor. Oh, I wrote, and you need to turn that shit into the cops. I have more than one doctor that I have seen about autism. It is documented more than once on my medical paperwork before I met you. I'm trying to dig it out of the pile, but there's too much. 2 briefcases full of evidence and bags all across the floor. I've been trying to keep it organized. I've had to move it again. Fuck, it's too much. I got a call from Boys Town today, but my voicemail wasn't set up, and the number is a general number, so they don't know who called me. She typed, I need to turn in what to the cops, and what cops? I know you are scared, but being abusive to those who are trying to help is not beneficial. I'm not trying to be abusive. I'm trying to explain to them that it's fucking important. I don't see what it is in there that's fucking abusive. I typed, I'm not being abusive, I'm being ignored until I have a meltdown, and your sentence structure made that paragraph difficult to understand. It's because she didn't put in punctuation, I think. She typed, not ignored but limited time to help. I have 4 appointments today in 5 hours. I typed the abuse. I sent you screenshots of evidence of child abuse. She typed at 12:12 a.m. You texted me to turn shit in. I am asking what shit you are referring to and to which cops. I typed, ma'am, I'm talking about being ignored by law. See, this is the thing. While I'm typing and a reply comes up, I don't see the reply. I see the stuff I'm typing. I mean, you could type to me, and it isn't until I press enter that I'm able to see it. Anyway, it says, that's because on my phone you have to, when somebody says a message, you have to scroll it on this one, and it had an update, and after the update it started doing that. So now there's another update that it wants me to do, and if I do that update, it might be able to fix that part. I don't know. I typed, ma'am, I am talking about being ignored by law enforcement. That's why I need someone in person to look at the evidence and to be present so I can turn it in. For starters, the Witcher file. She typed, when I try to report on things, I am not a direct witness to it, so witness to it is hearsay and not accepted. I typed, as well as the abuse by Scott DaCosta. It isn't hearsay. It is screenshots of the messages between Amy and I that makes it direct evidence. She typed, which file has the abuse from Scott DaCosta, what file shows it, narrow it down. I don't have days or even hours to spend sorting through things. I typed, that's the issue. I have to go through it all too, and I have a bunch more here to go through. I sent links to YouTube videos, including calls with Dual County Sheriff's Department. She typed, I have listened to some. The ones I have heard do not have any abuse. They show your frustrations with them wanting to send Dual County Sheriffs to your house, which you declined. That's the thing, is that I didn't need Dual County Sheriff's Department. I was trying to turn in Dual County Sheriff's Department. Dual County Sheriff's Department had already committed enough crimes by that point that it was not acceptable for them to be investigating anything. She typed, I typed, ma'am, that's the problem with excuse makers. It does show abuse and neglect. That's why it's important to know the whole story. I mean, at this point, she's just going out of her way to be. She typed, that is the problem, not an excuse. I don't know the whole story. I can only watch here and there. I am not an attorney. I am a counselor, which I'm aware of. That's the thing. Everybody says I'm not an attorney. Like, fuck, you're a goddamn witness. You really are a witness. That's the thing about getting people to see this. I typed, that's why Penny should have advocated, why she should have looked. But none of my caseworkers have looked except Tamara. Nebraska mandated reporters require healthcare providers, including mental health professionals, to report any suspected abuse of children, elders, and dependent adults. So in most cases, therapists who hear admissions of such abuse from patients not only can report their patients' statements, they must. So the fact that I told you is enough to constitute mandated reporting. And then there was a bunch of, I always look this shit up. It says, when the information revealed in therapy is the subject of court action, your therapist may be subpoenaed into court. Any action to protect the confidentiality of the files must take place before a subpoena is issued. She typed, okay, Sean, I went through the Witchery file and the screenshots that has been reported and gone through court, and CPS wants full names, dates of birth, addresses, etc., etc. None of that is in the screenshots. How the fuck am I supposed to know the birth dates of these people? I was a babysitter, for Christ's sake. It's not like these were my kids and I was there when they were born. Really? Is this what CPS requires when you turn this shit in? And it wasn't just abuse against those children, it was also abuse against me. I typed, how am I supposed to know the dates of birth? I was a babysitter. They don't need the birthdays. The names are Amy and Henry Witcher, and they can verify the phone number easily. She typed, have you ever called CPS? No, I tried to send them a fucking email and it didn't work. Meanwhile, I can't get into that fucking account either. I mean, shit, you know, that I got evidence all over the place that I can't access. But I typed, no, I was in Buffalo, Wyoming when Amy messaged me. I contacted another woman. She contacted Sydney Police Department. I contacted Amy. Then I called Sydney PD. They said to send screenshots to their email, which I did. They said they couldn't see the screenshots. So how are they going to investigate it if they can't even see the screenshots? Meanwhile, obviously, I was able to send them to Marcia Estrada, so she was able to see them. If she's able to see them, why can't they? She typed, well, I have called numerous times. They want to know if you GSVE first-hand knowledge. They want addresses, they want dates of birth, etc., etc. The last time I reported was off information someone told me they would not even go check. That's the thing, is that these people who are on drugs, what they did was take advantage of me and take advantage of my desperate situation. And it's got the names in there. It's got the name of the specific victim, the specific daughter who, goddamn. I need to take the razor to my head again, because I got a couple of stray hairs tickling me, plus my whole head itches. I did take a shower after I cut my hair, but it was cold water, so of course my head is probably going to be itchy for a few days. It also proves that with the cops not willing to do their jobs, that I had to go to people who are on fucking drugs. Amy and Andrew Witcher, Brett Roloff, and that's the thing about being in these situations. You know, I should have recorded every moment of every day, but I didn't have the ability. And a lot of the stuff that I did record was on stuff that was stolen. Like, this is not okay. Adult Protective Services was aware of the fucking situation with me well before those fucking phones were stolen in Washington State. The situation got entirely out of hand because cops didn't want to do their fucking jobs. They tell me to call law enforcement. I call law enforcement. It's nobody's job. It's nobody's job. Law enforcement, there are hundreds of calls to different law enforcement agencies where I explain that I can't take care of myself. I am an at-risk adult. Fucking hell. Meanwhile, if you look at all of it, you realize the full story. But if you only look at one little bit or piece, I mean, fuck. I don't even know which video with the police that she was looking at. The thing is that if I'm calling to turn in Scott DaCosta and they're sending Scott DaCosta to my fucking door, that is a safety issue. It is a safety risk, and it is highly illegal and highly immoral. This goddamn country sucks. Meanwhile, the lady at the first phone call, she's like, oh, well, you know, you're supposed to do that with your mental health care provider. Marcia Estrada is my mental health care provider. My caseworker through the Cirrus House. Marcia Estrada is my therapist through the Cirrus House. Penny Cooper was supposed to be my caseworker through the Cirrus House. So I'm told I gotta go through Penny Cooper to do this stuff, but Penny Cooper is not interested in doing that. When I was in low income in Chapel this last time, I had to do that the whole time without a caseworker. The whole time. If I'd have had a caseworker, I'd have been able to get my paperwork from Nancy and from Cindy. But no, they didn't want to give it up for some reason. Why didn't they want to give up my paperwork? It's my paperwork. It's fucking horse shit. So you have to have the social security numbers too? Is that what they're asking for? Do you have to have these people's full medical records to turn them in? Do you need to know their height and weight? I mean, seriously, how am I supposed to know these people's friggin' birthdays? It's fucking horse shit.